Okay, so here's all you need to know. The Voyager enters Krenim space. Ship pulls up. They have a chat. Guy goes, this area's in dispute. You should probably avoid this area. Janeway goes, thanks, we will. And they go around. Nothing else happened.
So that's the intro. We're good now.
I mean, that's technically the episode. Not wrong.
Also, ramming speed.
She didn't say it, though, sadly.
She did not say ramming speed. She
Wait,
thought it.
So all I have to say is what?
It's a lot more complicated than that. I'm just making fun of how it ended.
Basically, what I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want an intro and then spit it out on the air, or?
Oh, yeah, I was planning on keeping all this.
We went into Krenim space, and we're friends with some other people. What are they called?
The Zal.
The Zal. Friends with the Zal, not as much the Kremen, and then the Kremlin. The Gremlins from the Kremlin. We get thrown back in time because Red Foreman, the head of the Kremlin, would like to restore the former glory of his empire. And he kidnaps Chakotay in Paris and tries to make friends. And
the best friends.
Chakotay is kind of into it. That's all. That's all I got. I was asleep for almost all of the second episode. I
trying to wake you. You whined at me.
Yeah, I know, because you were... No, that was the first episode. The second episode, you were nowhere near me. It was me and Ames. And she never tried to wake me once.
She threw a cat at you.
Did you?
I did throw the cat at you.
Oh, is that why Blick Black was with me for a minute?
Yes.
Oh, what a good boy. He let me go back to sleep.
He did. He was the worst.
He was a good cat.
So let's do the intro.
So some Star Trek happened. Hello and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By. I'm Caitlin, and with me today are...
Jake.
Chris.
And Ames.
And today, Caitlin pulled the trick that she hasn't done in a long time, which is she fell asleep.
Many times.
So many times.
We tried.
To be fair, though, maybe it got good at the end, but I feel like the first episode was so fucking slow and boring that I'm not surprised that I fell asleep.
Yeah, you're allowed to be wrong.
Oh, yeah? Did you...
You missed at least 90% of the episodes.
Oh, yeah, right. Well, then, why don't you tell me what's so good about this bullshit that I missed?
Okay, so an actual brief summary.
What are the episodes we're talking about that Caitlin doesn't seem to like?
The Year of Hell, Part 1 and Part 2.
Woo!
Yeah.
From the Star Trek Voyager story.
Oh, and this is our episode 271.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
Woo!
Part 1.
Did I not say it last week?
You did. No, did you not?
I don't know.
You may not have.
Fuck.
Say it now.
Last week's episode is episode 270.
Whoa!
Listen, you're giving me a lot of shit for so-called sleeping through this episode, but at least I... Never mind. Nothing. At least I didn't sleep on giving the number of last week's... Yeah. Anyway.
So yes, you heard my joke intro. Actual intro. The Voyager gets to Krenim/Zal space, and some weaselly little shit has been shooting at them without saying hello. Then he says hello and is like, run away! Fear us! And Voyager's like, your weapons suck.
I believe Janeway said, I remember this, something along the lines of, you better have something more impressive in your torpedo tubes than that to mess with us.
So, yeah.
It was
Dick
really close
joke.
to that.
Yep.
She definitely there was definitely torpedo tube brought up.
Yep. But then Red Foreman, he doesn't explode a planet. He eradicates the surface of a planet somehow, and the ship gets bigger, and the wheezy little fucker is now a cocky little fucker, and is all like, get out of our space. They'd also met up with the Zal at that point, and their ambassador was wiped out, and all that.
Oh, whip that guy.
Yeah.
He seemed nice.
So then the Voyager spends a good many months getting chased around by the Krenim and having the shit blown out of them. And yeah, I'll admit, not a lot of things happen per se, but it's more a character study, you see. Watching the crew as they deal with the situations, as they escalate and collapse in on themselves.
Yes, the character is also the ship getting fucking torn to hell.
So much!
I remember some of that also. I remember them losing, the entire hull or something.
They lose a good chunk of Deck 5.
5, yeah, and the Doc has to kill some men.
He does.
2 people, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember that as well. He
Yep.
had to shut the door on him.
Yep.
I was hoping for Geordi rolls, at the last second, but...
Can't really Geordi roll through a door that closes like that. You can
Well,
Geordi roll into it as the Doc closes it in your face.
that's what happened.
It
That's
is.
my new
That's
headcanon.
totally what those guys did.
Thump. Aw. And yeah, and then by part 2, Voyager... That's the thing, they spend like most, if not all of part 1 not even knowing their real enemy is Red Foreman. Anorax? I should probably...
Anorax, yeah.
Yeah, Anorax.
I only remember that because I was like, why does he sound like anorexia?
See, it's true. I kind of thought it just sounded like, some prescription that you get in like a YouTube ad. It wouldn't just be like... It'd be one of those ones that's so vaguely worded that you're like, if I needed this, I'd probably know what it's for, but I have no idea what it's for since I don't.
And would Bulmanax not be a better name for him, as he does seem to be binging and purging a whole lot of planets?
Wow.
Listeners, you can't see the face I'm making, but I disapprove. So anywho, they realize who the real enemy is, and they kind of set out trying to deal with him. He has kidnapped Tom and Chakotay at this point, because he's like, oh shit, Voyager's an anomaly, it's fucking up all my calculations.
But why?
And
I remember Chakotay very helpfully suggesting that they blow up a comet.
yeah, and it
And
wipes
he's
out...
like, LOL, that would ruin like 8,000 civilizations.
Yeah.
Dummy.
Yeah, which, again, like, I saw that come before it even happened. No wonder Chakotay failed temporal mechanics. Chakotay gets all chummy with him, is like, I can convince him to stop destroying people and do something not harmful. Tom is like, yeah, you're an idiot. And befriends Obrist, who I referred to as Anorax's Joachim. God, meanwhile, what else? The Voyager eventually just says, you know what? Most of the crew take... Escape pods, thank you. Jesus. Words escape me.
Like a pod.
90, yes. They take escape pods. We'll try to meet you later.
What happens to Tuvok?
Oh, yes. Tuvok went kablind because of a kaboom. So he's having 7 of 9 sort of a system and walking around. He's activating the tactile interface mode on the Elcar's display. Yeah, they make some allies because Tom gets information out to them with the help of Obrist. Obrist.
Mount Everest.
And there's a big old offensive. They kerplode Kurtwood Smith's ship, and it's like none of it ever happened.
Whoa.
That's the rough
Full
version.
erasure.
Yep.
Reminded me a lot of, what's the TOS episode? Is it Tomorrow is Yesterday? With the fighter jet pilot that we accidentally abduct and need to
he doesn't remember any of it.
Put him back put his body back inside his body, and it got very strange.
Yeah.
But also, the same thing happened that Chakotay with the comet happened was, it's like, oh yeah, this guy is not going to make any fucking difference. Spock, you forgot to look into his lineage. Fool.
Yeah, which, you really think Spock would have.
Spock of all people.
Although Spock corrects himself, I think, in that case.
I think he does.
I liked the very meta discussion that, was it Seven and Janeway were having about, the type of paradox they may have wandered into?
Oh, yeah, what did she call it?
Oh, God.
Causality.
Causality or causation paradox or something like that.
Yeah, so what I saw, I remember.
Yeah. But no, I guess it is actually much more of a character piece than you would expect given the premise, in a way. It's really about how they deal with everything sort of slowly imploding around them, exploding, disintegrating. Not going well. I will say off the bat, though, what the fuck, you assholes? None of you heard the word Krenim and thought, hey, Tess told us about that.
Yeah, I was confused because I feel like the second that they enter Krenim space and the Krenim guy says, I'm a Krenim. Krenim. We have time warheads. That someone would be like, oh, right, we were told to avoid you at all costs.
Some things went really badly for us.
Well, maybe... so the first time we see them meeting the Krenim, they're little piss ants. So maybe it didn't occur to them that, oh, these are a threat and,
But they seem to also have forgotten later when they're being attacked that the missiles that are being shot at them are temporal based.
Yeah.
It's entirely possible that at some point Red Foreman did something.
He wiped out the Ocampa. Son of a bitch!
If not that, whatever event... Except the war itself is what caused the event that... Oh, we've gone cross-eyed.
Actually, if he wiped out the Ocampa, the caretaker wouldn't have to exist and be taking care
the whole
of them.
Series
So then Voyager would never have been brought to the Delta Quadrant. I'm okay with all.
Look, Red Foreman did something that caused that one specific episode to not happen.
But, yeah. Well, it's also, but now that we hit the reset button at the end and the Krenim never were powerful, then that episode really didn't happen, right? Because
that's interesting.
Because Voyager never got attacked with a temporal torpedo.
Yeah.
Huh. And now I've truly gone cross-eyed.
Yeah.
Well,
And
of
how
course.
would this affect Kess, who is now no longer with us and somewhere else?
Yeah, well, that's the thing is, like, the only reason Cass went back in time in the first place was because she was exposed to that radiation, but she wasn't there for it. So this is a character piece. Don't think too hard about the time travel, or you're gonna shit yourself.
Yeah, it's fascinating on the surface.
To paraphrase Looper, we'd be sitting here all day making timelines with straws.
Looper's a good movie.
Why
really
straws?
Because they're in a diner when he says that.
Ah, that makes more sense. Yeah, when you talk about the character piece, like I think they do an excellent job throughout both episodes with the character Anorax.
Mm-hmm.
Because you think for a while, like, he's just destroying people because, you know, the Krenim are warlike or something. And they keep making themselves more and more warlike and control more things. And you start to actually see the complexity of his character and how he doesn't like doing this stuff, but it's a means to an end and all this thing. And he likes to keep... I wouldn't even call them trophies. I'd call them more like mementos of the peoples he kills. And then noms on them because they're mostly food.
Well, I was going to say, regardless, he's a serial killer.
Yeah.
See, I think that's what's interesting
Oh, he
about it.
definitely is.
I think they kind of let you... They let your perception of him shift sort of constantly, because that's kind of what it is, right? Is because the whole thing boils down to Paris and Chakotay at first are looking at him through different lenses.
Yep.
Because, I mean, as soon as he mentioned, like, oh, and was this particular place restored? And I was like, gee, I wonder if he wiped out his family at some point. But then, like, you know, that's, you know, it sort of depends, right? It's like, it's a museum. No, it's trophies. No, it's a museum. And I think depending on how you're looking at him, you could see both
He's
arguments.
Also absolutely insane.
Oh, he is
nuts.
nuts.
He thinks that time has it out for him.
Yeah, which...
It might, though.
Who knows?
Follow me on this.
But-
which is why I think pairing him with Chakotay most of the time is a very good idea, because Chakotay is able to, like, you know, be the normal, compassionate guy who, you know, the first thing he does is try to understand the person he's talking to. And that's how we get to learn about Anorax and what his rationalities are.
Well, I think Chakotay needs to build him a tub. That might fix all of his problems.
Please.
And then...
Because at first I was like, why is Chakotay, like, hanging out with this dude? But then I was like, oh, it's because he thinks he can make him do it without being genocidal. Oh, Chakotay, you sweet summer child.
I know, when he's there, like, doing his own little computations, being like, okay, what's the actual way to do this?
Maybe I can just delete a rock and not people.
But how have they been tooling around for 200 years doing this and nobody's thought to mutiny yet? Like, that's what I don't understand.
I mean, the thing is, when Oberus does, he seems to be the only one.
Yeah.
Like, everyone else apparently thinks this is great still.
Yeah, but how?
I don't know.
They're the ones that just love killing.
They do. Because, yeah, like, he mutinies, and then he's like, back to your post, and everyone else is like, yeah, okay.
Dinner's at 6. It's spaghetti night. We're out of meat.
The last spaghetti. This spaghetti was made on a world that no longer exists.
So these people have been doing this for like 200 or so years.
Mm-hmm.
Are they like immune from time and they haven't been aging? Okay.
The ship itself has a temporal shield.
Got it.
Yeah, so
that's kind of neat.
Yeah, they're effectively immortal.
I do like the ship. The ship is pretty cool. I know we've been talking ships a lot in our blogtivity.
You do talk a lot of ship, Ames.
And we'll be talking about it eventually. But prepare for me in a couple of weeks to talk about how cool the Krenim ship
Yeah, the
is.
design of the ship reminded me a little bit of Babylon 5.
Okay, I see it.
It's got like a big orby bit.
Sure.
It's made kind of from front to back instead of like from saucer to other hull to other things.
Yeah, and its main purpose, you know, it's most of its hull is a focusing piece for this crazy time weapon. Like, the ship is a weapon more than anything else, and that shows in the design.
But it's also pretty.
Yes. As you had said about the jellyfish, would make a nice earring.
Ah.
What a coinkydink.
Yeah.
That Chakotay, evidently weeks before this whole ordeal started, was like, I should make a gift for the captain. I'll make her a pocket watch.
Being fair,
Do you replicate it, you mean make?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Although, you know, it is him, he may have replicated all the parts and hand-assembled them.
Oh, that'd be kind of cute.
It would. It does makes sense insofar that, like, apparently it was modeled after some captain who everyone thought was dead but got his crew home eventually.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, the story was
he didn't
good.
give it her
but
that
the fact
much no
that
matter
that
what.
it was a watch.
Yeah, that's a
in
bit.
an episode about time.
Yeah, that's... Don't think about that too hard either.
Because where is she going to keep it? They don't have pockets on their uniforms.
Well, you saw she just dangles it from her belt.
I bet Red Foreman wished that he had tried harder to get to the point in time when they didn't have that watch. Did the watch factor in a lot?
No, not really.
Oh,
It
damn.
was just a...
Oh.
I do like...
Maybe he'll keep it after they're dead. Well, I
Well,
know they don't die, but if he had.
See, that's what it should have been, because Ames at one point when he goes, only time can judge me, and you said he's killed when a clock falls on him. Maybe that's what it should have been, is Janeway sets the ship to collide, but she beams out at the last second and then just whips him with the watch. And he's like, no, not time! Ouch!
Oh, time beats him.
She's like, no, time is on my side.
That's a good one, too.
That is good.
How long do you think Janeway had been spending figuring out what her big time pun death ride would be?
What was it?
It was like what, time's up?
Time's up.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like,
Then I hope it was spur of the moment, because if she put any time at all into that,
Yeah, it's like
that's
in
pretty upsetting.
Hot Fuzz when the character throws somebody in a freezer to kill and hurts him. Cool off. I got a good one in.
but yeah, it's
Ice to meet you.
Oh no!
Oh, it's Gotham. Chill.
look what you've done.
Yay! I'm proud.
It's Batman again.
That's fine. These are good ones though.
True. Yeah, we did get some of what Kes had described. We do get Neelix in the yellow uniform.
Oh yep.
Tuvok isn't killed, but he is blinded. B'Elanna
Janeway
lives.
isn't killed, but she's burned a lot.
Horribly.
Woof! She would have died.
Yeah, but it is interesting that the torpedo that caused Kess's
Yeah.
Radiation?
time sickness, in this timeline, it was 7 of 9
Yep.
that encountered the torpedo.
Yep. I meant to check. Was it the same number? Because she mentions it's
It's like
signature
1.47.
Yeah.
I want to say it's the same. I'm sure.
I mean,
I'm sure if it weren't, people on Memory Alpha would go off.
Yeah, because then it would be 2 different torpedoes,
Yeah.
which makes no sense.
Then they'd be all like, damn the torpedoes.
Eh.
I don't know.
Yeah, Tuvok gets blinded. which-
Apparently, Vulcans use single edge,
I
single
mean, I
point
don't know why he
razors.
didn't just close his other eyelids.
I know. I was thinking that he's got so many eyelids.
I was just going to ask how his other eyelids were
They
affected.
were burned clear off.
I somehow forgot about the extra eyelids.
Whoa.
Wow.
You think Tim Ross had
Apparently
brought it
the
up and they
fucking
were like, shut
writers
up, Tim.
did too.
Well, maybe because they protected Spock against bright light.
Yeah, this was probably
This
actual.
was fire.
Yeah, that was probably actual. For all we know, those weren't his eyes in his head.
Ooh.
Those were like
Marbles.
glass or something, because the real ones were just melted.
Well, that's gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Tim Russ was having a lot of trouble with, doing the sightless acting. Because, he says, I'm so used to, especially as a Vulcan, because it's logical. When someone's talks, you look at them and you make eye contact with them. And you can't do that when you've been blinded by fire.
Well, but you would still look in the same rough direction of that person. Like,
yeah, but
you might
you
not be
can't
able to make it.
focus.
Yeah, that's
true.
the tricky part.
Trying not to like, look around but not focus, it's tricky.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Well, I thought he was doing, I only saw a little bit, but from what I saw, he was doing a good job. Like, he literally had, obstacles in the way that Seven was moving out of the way for him, and I thought he was doing a good job of, not anticipating them. But who knows how many takes that took. But whatever, I thought he did well.
Yeah, no, he did. He did a good job.
How did he get his sight back?
They reset the timeline.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, and that's part of the thing. I know they wanted there to be, some kind of lasting thing. What did I write in my notes? My notes are insane for these episodes. Oh, here we go. Braga and Minoski were stumped on how to end this one, but they decided that Anorex was Nemo from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I meant to watch it this week, but I didn't. And they wanted to go against doing the hard reset, but they just couldn't figure out how to make it a lasting thing that, someone might remember and it would still be tickling the back of their memory, like a Yesterday's Enterprise kind of a thing. But they couldn't make it work, and I think finally Berman just says, just do the hard reset. It's easier. Guys, you're beating yourselves up. Just do it.
See, I just came up with it right the hell now.
Tell me.
Some sort of backup memory core in Seven's brain that was somehow temporally shielded.
Oh, yeah. Like Guinan.
Yeah, that's right. Whenever you've got another species or a board tech thing, you can just go, yeah, Borg tech.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine, though. We don't need... Because it's not like they ever fucking would have referenced it again anyway.
And also, like, they already allegedly, they had warnings about the Kremen, and they just never...
Yeah.
Still didn't use that, so what's the point?
Yeah, and now they're, like, friend, or at least not vicious.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're, like, somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, it sounds like them and the... Zal are probably still...
bickering.
Yeah, but it's not what it used to be. Credit to that guy. The
Zal guy?
Yeah. No, the first Krenim guy we see.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because he does play 3 distinct characters.
Ha!
He plays angry, like, small dog. He plays cocky fuckhead. And then he plays kind of normal person.
Okay, what kind of dog is each one?
Oh, dear. I don't know if they're dogs. Like a Chihuahua.
Yep.
Let's say...
A big cocky dog? I don't know. Probably maybe
Cocker
like a Malamute. I don't know.
And then the third one's like a retriever of some kind.
Good.
Retrievers are very
Default
amiable.
dog.
A yellow lab, then.
Yeah, I think we'd referred before how originally this was supposed to be the season finale of season 3 before
Yes,
they
that's
realized, casting change was going to fuck everything up. Let's push this to sweeps week. But then they also considered making this whole Year of Hell idea, a full season long arc. But the producers said, we don't do arcs. You can have a 2-parter. And Braga was like, 4-parter? And the 2-parter! You get 2!
See,
I don't know if it'll work, does it?
I feel like the hard reset would have felt like getting punched in the face
I don't think
at
they
the end
could
of
have done the
season.
reset.
No,
if
they
it
would
was
had
a
to
full-
have-
if it was a
They would
full
have had more
season.
time to come up with something, though. Then.
Yeah.
That's maybe true.
but that's the problem, right? Is like they haven't proven they could do a full season since they've been repeatedly prevented from doing sort of longer term storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
So like on the one hand, you're like, man, that probably would have been cool. But then you're like, would it have though? Maybe they would have been, but we don't know because they've only been doing basically episodic television up to this point.
Yeah, it's like how every so often, like in the Dominion War and Deep Space Nine, you get a Dominion War episode and you're just like, this is just exposition. Thanks, Dominion War.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like, we haven't gotten here yet, obviously, but a full season arc of this would have just been basically exactly the Xindi arc from Enterprise.
Yeah.
Where you just have like this big bad and you're spending the whole season building up to it.
Yeah. I mean, again, could it have been good? Maybe, but we just don't have enough proof to say for sure.
You'd get that much
Insufficient
more
data.
of Red Foreman, though.
True.
And he's great.
He is. He does a really good job of being like most of his madness is very quiet.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't really go full nut bar till the end when things are turning against him.
Full nut bar.
Now, this is his second or third appearance.
It depends on if this came before or after when he was in Deep Space Nine.
Right. Well, that's true because he was.
But I want to say third.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. He was also in Undiscovered Country.
Yeah.
As Mr. President.
As the Mole Man president.
Oh, he was the cat thing in 5?
No, 6.
Oh.
But yeah, he was the president of the Federation.
I don't remember what that thing is, unless that's what I'm...
I guess there's a vague felinoidness to his face.
Felinoidness?
Yeah, it's not a word, I think.
Oh, good. Okay, I was going to say.
I've always thought he's kind of mole-like, only because of the little dark glasses he has to put on at one point. So I assume his species has trouble with bright lights, which makes me assume they started as an underground race.
But how does he feel about big cities?
He's not thrilled, but he has to live in Paris because he's the president.
Also, he's not above the law.
That's true.
Speaking of the law, it's like how we liked him an awful lot in Robot Cop. Because he's, as a villain, he's such a different and kind of unique, complex villain that you don't normally see the Weasley, bespectacled guy be the villain.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see what he does with it, and it's really cool to see him in this as the kind of guy who's almost doing this for a good reason. Like, he does it originally because he wants to stop a war with his people and realizes he fucked it up because they needed those people to have survived a plague.
Yep. Yeah, and he's definitely... You see this a lot in fiction, the sort of the villain convinced of their own moral correctness.
Like Ducat, my
Yes.
fave.
But, again, he plays it very, quietly and subtly for most of it. You know, you can see how Chakotay could get suckered into thinking, I can reach the part of him that isn't nuts.
It's a real Beauty and the Beast. But I can change him.
Yeah. If he was just immediately like, you know, "Rah!" and monologue, Chakotay'd be like, nope.
You sure?
Let's mutiny now.
Yeah. Speaking of, Chakotay's a liar.
What
When
do you
he
lie
said
about?
he didn't like his plan to, you know, break up the ship either in the first episode, it's like, Chakotay, your first thought was, let's cut our losses, land somewhere, make a colony, I'll build so many tubs!
Full of tubs.
All the tubs.
It's all the great it's the Chakotay, let's make tubs plan, it's the Janeway, let's blow the ship up plan, it's all of them.
Everyone's happy.
Yeah. You got Janeway'd.
So the very end of the episode, we see that evidently everything's been restored. I'm guessing that scene that we see with him and his wife is 200 years in the past, but...
Right, that's the question. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
I like that they leave it vague, because I've heard different interpretations of that scene.
But either way, it sounds like, despite all of his meticulous calculations, he never considered that simply destroying his own ship
Yeah.
could restore everything back to what it was before he did all the bullshit.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
just-
yeah, it definitely would, wouldn't it?
Make sure it never happens.
See, here's the question, though, because what we see is when he goes out for a walk with his very pretty wife, unusually pretty wife, is he's designing the device on
Yeah.
his little tablet. So does he do it again, and is he stuck in a loop?
Oh.
That's the rationality I've seen people on the internet say, and I like it.
I don't think he's stuck in a loop. I think she's distracted him enough that he's gonna not bother with it.
The optimist approach.
That was
unusual from you.
That was the change in the timeline that allowed his ship to
You know, as
not exist.
he stands up, walks away with her. Captain What's-His-Name from Starfleet Temporal
Domer
Talks.
and Luxley. Oh, Braxton.
Yeah,
Braxton.
Captain
Yes.
Braxton beams in with
Yes.
just a hatchet and smashes his little computer, puts the pieces into a bag, stomps on the bag, puts that into a bigger bag, lights it on fire, sprays it down, puts the ashes in a bucket, closes the bucket, and beams away.
No. He just steals the plans.
And does them himself.
Yeah, because
That's how Braxton gets the
If
stuff.
you're a time cop, that's a great.
No, wait. Rasmussen beams in,
Oh, yeah.
steals
you're
the
talking.
plans, and beams away.
My God. Yeah, I was thinking, would Braxton like this guy or hate this guy? But I think he'd love him.
Braxton is torn. On the one hand, it's a pain in the ass. On the other hand, hey, when people say, what do you do in Starfleet Temporal stuff? Mostly deal with this fucker.
A
So
lot
So
of
keep
this-
funding us.
I mean, the thing is, unless you have temporal shields,
Yeah.
then you are not aware of changes that are happening.
True.
But Braxton has temporal shields.
Does he? Do his temporal shields work the same way that Voyagers do?
I'm gonna say yes, because they're from the future.
Something Temporal Cold War, something Daniels.
This episode was nominated for an Emmy in visual effects, specifically Part 2 for visual effects. I want to say I liked the visual of the scene of like some little ally ship plowing into the bridge of Voyager looked good.
Yeah. I mean, it's still clearly CG, but for the time, for television, it's like, yeah, I'll give that one to you. As far as the CG goes, it was probably about as good as you could have gotten at that time.
Yeah, they didn't have to create a creature or anything.
No.
Which is always a mistake.
And the increasingly fucked up Voyager model looked good.
Yeah, that looked just fun. I think they just had a lot of fun with making that. And also fucking up the bridge, fucking up Janeway's quarters.
It's kind of like doing in microcosm some of the stuff they had wanted to do over the course of years, you know? It was like, we would have torn
Been
out a
gradual,
floor and then
yeah.
had to patch it up somehow, and this and that. And yeah, overall, like, 'cause I didn't remember much about this, except that I knew we were getting a hard reset. And so I was like, ooh, is this gonna work? And I still was really into it, you know? It's like, in a way, it's a shame none of it happened technically in World. Like, these moments never occurred, but they're all acted really well. You know, in contrast to last week, where I was like, knowing where the Raven was going kind of made it lose a lot of its sort of momentum. With this, it's not really the point. It's just to watch these people have these scenes and these moments,
Yeah,
even when, I know they're going to be fine in the long run, but the final scene, well, they think it's the final scene between Tuvok and Janeway is really lovely.
It is really good. I love that scene.
It's like he's getting as emotional as a Vulcan can let himself get.
Yeah. Why do you keep personifying the ship? And she's like, well, Tuvok, let me tell you.
It's just what we do. She almost breaks down a little while hugging him. It's really a great scene.
Yeah, it's a really good scene.
How the fuck does 7 of 9 know about First Contact?
No, it's just in the database.
Yeah.
No. She says that the Borg were present at those events. How
Yeah.
does she know the Borg were present at those events?
Oh, why is it in the database?
Why would it be in the Borg database? Because it's not in Voyager's database. They don't know about that.
Why wouldn't it be, though? I'm confused.
Because all those Borg
all
were
those
wiped
Borg
out.
got destroyed.
Huh.
And they stopped the interplexing beacon before it could unless like a couple of Borg survived somehow and woke up later and
Actually, no. You know what? No, I think that is exactly what happens.
I know I'm making a reference.
Oh, you're doing it again.
Are you
But-
referencing things we haven't seen yet?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch, Jake. Is it Enterprise?
Of course,
saying.
it's
I'm
Enterprise.
saying.
It's got to be Enterprise. It's probably the same episodes as last time.
But
as well.
I do now. Like I had forgotten about that little line that they dropped in this episode. I wonder if like they were like, oh, we're gonna fill a plot hole.
No, what he was referencing last week was this week.
No. The last time he referenced Enterprise.
Which was
Oh.
earlier this episode.
Oh, no, that's a different thing.
I was thinking of a different episode when he did that.
It's been a long time
Oh,
since I
dear.
referenced
Stop.
It's
Enterprise.
been a long road since you...
Good point.
That's what
Uh,
I thought you were gonna do. That's why I said stop.
Well, the second line of the song is it's been a long time.
So, yeah.
Were they? Because I know this is the debut of Janeway with the short haircut.
Mm.
And because we watch these so quickly back to back, like, it looks like it gets longer throughout. And if it did, that's a good touch.
Well, it definitely gets
'Cause-
less Cam.
Quaff.
Well,
Yeah, I think that's really what I think in the earlier scenes it's just
It's
kind of
pulled
like
more back.
Well, it's styled more like there's kind of
Okay.
some waves, and I think just logically she would be able to do that less, so it just kind of got slack. But it certainly gave the impression it was getting longer, which
Oh.
maybe is why they did that in the first place. Like, all right, we don't have to have a bunch of wigs. We'll just have her have more product in the early scenes, and we'll put in some relaxant in
For
later.
all I know, I just always expect everything to be a wig now, so...
That's fair. Yeah,
That's a
true.
safe bet usually. Yeah, I like the scene between her and the doctor where he relieves her of duty, and
Yeah.
she's like, "What are you gonna fucking do about it?"
That's a good scene, too.
Complain if we ever get home.
I'm gonna put it in my log.
You're gonna get court-martialed, she says. Good.
That means we've gotten home for me to be court-martialed.
You can't court-martial me, bitch.
I quit.
And the doctor is also pretty fascinating because, as we see him shut the door on two crew members running for their lives to get out of the about-to-explode floor. And he times it down like 3, 2, 1. Sorry, guys. Slam. And he brings it up later, which is, a good touch to make sure, like, he's feeling something.
Yeah, it sucks.
It does.
It's a position he shouldn't have to have been in. Probably not something he's technically programmed to have to deal with, because he's, again, supposed to be an emergency backup program.
Yeah. Imagine if he didn't have the mobile litter yet. Well, have fun in sickbay. Bye!
True.
Sickbay gets blown into space.
He never did shut down. That's different from Kess's version.
Did he not? I feel like there was a time when he was shut down, but I could be misremembering something.
How can I recall? Because, yeah, she mentioned, like, there was a period where he was offline for, like, I think months in her
Right.
version of it. And if he was down, it was for not that long, certainly.
Maybe in Kessa's version, he didn't make it out of that deck in time, and that damaged his emitters or something.
Maybe. But, again, like, just so much of, I mean, in her version, they got through it and didn't have a hard reset either. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's wildly different.
Yeah, but presumably they had to have rebuilt large chunks of the ship.
Yes, it does seem like things did not go well.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see if the coming episodes are just a long couple of weeks of them slowly patching the ship. No, because it's a hard reset, so it's gone.
Yeah, it never happened.
Yeah, it never happened. Damn. You ruined your little model for 2 episodes.
You broke your little...
ship.
God damn it.
What's that from?
First Contact.
Oh, from First Contact. Yeah. What's her name says it to him, right?
Lily.
Yeah, that's it.
She's good.
She is. She's great.
They also plan, speaking of stuff the Doctor would have had to do, instead of just Tuvok getting blinded by the explosion, they planned for him to have a leg lost.
I was going to say as a joke they're going to have him lose his legs because that thing last week. Who on this show was so desperate to have people lose their legs?
When did this come up before?
Last week, where they were like, the impetus for Raven was to have a scene with like legless 7 of 9 crawling towards the warp core.
Right. Yeah, and they would have had to do like the Forrest Gump kind of tech where to make the leg green screen leg or some shit.
They couldn't have afforded that.
No, exactly. They had to scale it back because that's not fucking
I'm
possible.
surprised they didn't give him like scars on his face though. Like,
He shot a dermal regenerator at that point.
I guess.
Oh yeah, because by the time Janeway got on fire,
They should have had him missing like the tip of one of the ears though, something. Like legitimate, like something to show like that there was really some major
the eyebrows
damage.
burned off. I can't tell what race you are by your eyebrows anymore because you're wearing a hat.
Like hats.
I do like though that they have a tactile interface for their systems because in theory, like there's probably some species that don't have sight, or even if they do have sight, that's true.
Oh yeah, like Hammer.
Or even if they do have sight, maybe it's like nowhere near as complex. Maybe they only see very sort of vague shapes or something. So
and I'm also sure that there are conditions that result in you being blind. Like,
but you
Jordy
figure,
Forge.
okay, but if he was in the Alpha Quadrant and they had full stuff, they probably could have given him a visor or something equivalent.
Maybe it depends on like the type of damage.
That's true.
But what if you just don't read the language that's being displayed because you're a different race, but you know a different tactile kind of a thing.
I'm imagining that the L-cars will dynamically kid-jigger itself for any languages and stuff. But a tactile input definitely makes a lot of sense. It's good for accessibility.
Yeah.
It's not great for accessibility are all of the stairs on the bridge.
True. The Enterprise D much better with the ramps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of the bridges though. Another thing, the original Enterprise has like
stairs,
the pit, and then the captain's seat
pit.
up on. Which it's the '60s, right? Everyone had those conversation pits. It was very groovy and hip. But you have the dip, and then the captain's chair on the thing.
Yeah, the least accessible is Deep Space Nine.
Oh yeah, no, but that's the Cardassians. Like, I'm sure they're like the Spartans. If a child was born with any kind of like ailment, they just threw it off a cliff. Speaking of, was Red Foreman's
Speaking of throwing children off of cliffs?
Cardassians?
Sign us
Oh,
up.
okay.
Was Red Foreman's window the view screen from DS9?
It looked very much.
Windows me, right?
I don't know if it was the view screen, but it definitely had a DS9
Cardassian window like slat
I
look.
was trying to figure that out myself.
And I take it there was nothing on Memory Alpha.
I didn't. If there was, I didn't notice it.
Okay, because I was definitely like, is that a Cardassian window?
Yeah, I kind of gloss over this is a thing that was used in this episode because
That's
it gets
fair.
very tedious. It's
Oh, I
like,
imagine.
the art that you see on the wall in this episode was seen as an art on this episode. I'm like, I really don't give a shit.
Yeah. And
So
of course,
I think the chair in his office looked very.
It did,
Cardassian,
right?
Yeah.
it was familiar. Like, I feel like I'd seen it somewhere. I don't know if I thought... And also, his chair might have been... Like I said, I think it maybe was one of the side, like, Riker or Troy chairs from the Enterprise.
His chair on the bridge or his chair
On the bridge.
Yeah.
Because it was certainly the right shade of, like, dark maroon. And it had the little things at the end. So I think they might have taken an Enterprise E chair and modified it.
Yeah, but I think, like, his office chair had, like, these big wings.
Yeah, I felt like
which
I'd seen
looked
that
very
chair on
familiar.
Trek before, too, but I couldn't remember where.
But, no. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought this is a good episode. I like this one. It's good.
I didn't like his weird head nipple.
I wonder if they had, like, horns, but they have to trim them.
I like that idea. I would like to have actually seen that. I've seen one of them just like... Okay, I think you see that in one of the Hellboy movies.
Huh.
Like, he's actually, like, keeping his horns ground down.
Oh, that's interesting.
Well, Ferengi sharpen their teeth. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
And Klingons too, when given the right tools.
And Little
Beavers
Monsters
continuously grow their teeth.
Howie Mandel.
Most
breaks
rats
his
do,
horn.
don't they?
Well, someone's actually seen that movie. Who knew?
What movie?
How bad is it? It's always looked very bad.
It's quite bad, but I enjoyed it as a child.
I wonder I
It
guess.
was Howie Mandel and Fred Savage, and Howie Mandel played a monster It's basically, it's like Monsters, Inc.
What's the name of
It's
it?
called Little Monsters. And
Oh, I've heard of it.
It's basically, the idea is that the monsters that live under your bed actually live under your bed, but your bed is like a doorway, like a portal to a monster world. And
You know, I suspected as much.
yeah, so
It's
like
good to have my thoughts confirmed here.
they like lift up your bed like the hood of a car. Like it goes up at like 45-degree angle, and then you like jump in, and then you're in this monster world. But so Fred Savage is a kid who befriends his monster, and then they like start getting into mischief together. But
The monster is Howie Mandel?
monster's Howie Mandel.
Wow.
But the rule is you can't. If you're in the monster land, if you're a human kid and you're in the monster land beyond sunrise, you get stuck there and become a monster yourself.
Huh.
So
Sounds win-win.
Spoiler alert, at the end of the film, they have to defeat like the big bad monster, but then they beat him, but the sun is risen. So then they have to run from wherever they are all the way to like Seattle to beat the sunrise. Because apparently, like, space is compressed in the monster world, so you can outrun the sun.
Good. I'm there with you.
Outrun the sun. Do-do-do-do.
This is what Howie Mandel looks like in the movie.
Oh, he's got the horns.
And one of his horns
Wow, I
breaks
don't
at
care
one
at
point.
all for that.
Yeah, no, it's very upsetting. This has been Little Monsters Corner.
Yeah, speaking of random trivia, we see Torres and Kim playing Trivial Pursuit by memory or something like that.
Yeah.
I hope they know about the moops.
Yes.
What are the moops?
Jake, tell Chris about the moops.
You ever played Trivial Pursuit? You don't know about the moops? They invaded Spain in 1300s or something? I don't know.
Oh, did they misspell Moors on a card
misspelled
once?
Moors.
I see.
Well, it's a Seinfeld joke.
Oh, it is? Okay.
So
I didn't watch
the
Seinfeld.
The joke on Seinfeld is that, like, that's the question, and the guy answers the Moors, and George says, no, the answer was the moops. And he's like, well, it's obviously a misprint, and then he gets into a big fight because...
George Wood.
Yeah.
It's actually reminds me of a thing that floats around the internet sometimes. I don't know if it's real. I hope it is. But it's a card from an older version of Trivial Pursuit. And it's like, which of the following actors has not played Batman? And one of the options, the bright option at the time, was Ben Affleck. That version of Trivial Pursuit is now out of date.
Wow.
Funny.
As is any version that mentions the USSR as an existing property. What else?
Oh, I also liked Mulgrew's delivery of the parting monologue at the very end of part 1. Asking you to stay on Voyager would be basically asking you to die.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it because I feel like it, and good luck everybody else, and have fun in your shuttle pods.
Me
So
and
let's be real though. Like, those escape pods are not meant for long
They are not.
distance travel.
They're all dead.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
they wouldn't make it very far.
No. Unless there was a planet nearby for them to land on and build some tubs with.
But they don't have Chakotay, so no tubs.
Well, see, part of their away kit involves a very detailed instruction manual written by Chakotay, letting them know how to build a tub.
Also, like, with their luck, right, they'd land on some planet, they'd make friends with the locals, and they'd be in, like, be integrated into the society, everybody would be getting along, and they'd be living amongst these people, well taken care of, well fed, and then Red Foreman would go and destroy that civilization.
Seriously.
They'd all just disappear, and you'd be stuck there, be like, what? Where did we go?
It just, I really hope, mild spoilers for Prodigy, jump ahead if you're concerned and haven't seen it yet. You should be. It's a good show. Watch it. They've mentioned Chakotay, but exactly where he is and what's going on with him is vague. It's implied he's missing. I really hope they just find him on a planet somewhere where he was stranded by the bad guy and he has built himself a bitchin' treehouse.
Made of tubs.
Like, yeah, sure. Or at least with very nice. And I'm not talking like a shitty kid's tree. I'm talking like Swiss Family Robinson, like, best, like, I would live in this treehouse, you know? He's like, oh, I'm pretty happy here. He's got a better beard than he did in this episode.
Oh, he wasn't meant to look good this episode. He was meant to look like he's scraggly and...
Well, that's probably though. He didn't look scraggly.
And...
He kind of just looked like he couldn't grow facial hair.
He looked like he'd grown a 70s, like, fucking Village People mustache. Like, which one was it the construction worker? Or the policeman? I think he had the policeman's
I
mustache.
feel like it was the policeman.
I say the one thing I don't buy so much about this episode is the fact that Chakotay, like, kind of starts believing or helping Red Foreman's thing.
No, I believe it.
Like I said, for me at first it didn't make sense, but then I came to understand, it's like, oh, because he's trying to convince him to do it in a way that doesn't kill anyone. And then it made sense to me.
Yeah.
Like, at first, when I thought he was just going along with it, I was like, this seems out of character. But when it's like, oh, because he thinks he can fix him. Oh, you
Yeah,
mean
but, like,
so
here's
well.
the thing. Like, this guy is already mega Hitler.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know, like, at this point...
But that's...
Yeah, well, at this point, you're also trying to do less damage moving forward.
That's Chakotay. He's the guy that's going to try to fix Mega Hitler.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but here's the thing. I'm with Tom Paris.
Oh, yeah, it's not going to work.
Let's kill Mega
It is.
Hitler.
It is not going to work, but bless him for trying.
Let Ogress be in charge. He was
Yeah.
kind of cute.
Yeah. Like, he should have come around sooner. But and he does come around, though. You know, he's like, yeah, this isn't... Nope. There are not enough tubs in the world to change this man's heart. And I appreciated that Tom's like, yeah, lots of people have lost their families. And we've not become Mega Hitler. Jesus.
Tom knew an awful lot about the Titanic, and I bet it's because he watched the movie.
Yeah, probably. Probably watched the movie once and then got really into it as an extension. Motherfucker loves movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that came up also when they were during the trivia session where, like, I'm sure Harry Kim only knew about...
Oh, yeah, that was all from Tom.
Cary Grant because of...
There's actually a joke thing. There's a moment that calls back to that and makes it very explicit that Harry's knowledge of old movies comes directly from Tom, and it's a really, like, ridiculous moment in a, I think, two-parter we're going to be seeing someday, so I will just leave it at that and hopefully remember that I mentioned this when we get to that episode.
Yeah. As a two-parter, like, I think this one is actually got a good through line.
Yeah.
It's a little clear that they actually planned for it to be a two-parter. And
Yeah.
that's possibly because they were expecting longer and then realized, okay, it's going to be shorter, so let's actually figure out what we're doing with it.
Yeah, it doesn't, like, I know I've said in the past, it often feels like they didn't have enough material for two, but too much for one.
Or they just didn't plan what the second half was going to be, which often happens.
But this felt like, yeah, from the start to the end, they sort of knew...
They knew
what it was
where to
gonna-
cut it off between them.
Yeah, it was a decent cutoff point. Yeah, no, this might be the most successful two-parter we've had.
Yeah, I wonder
A
if this
Voyager
one
or
is-
overall?
Overall.
Interesting.
I mean, like, it with things that are explicitly, like, numbered two-parters.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
DS9,
Gets
with its
weighty.
serialized storytelling, can complicate things. But as far as something that explicitly, this one, part one, and here comes, you know, what's her name?
Michael Burnham.
The computer.
Majel Barrett.
Thank you! You know, in along comes Majel Barrett to go, and now the conclusion. Like one of those episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this could have also worked as a feature length, too.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I was thinking, it's kind of, this is Voyager's movie.
Yeah.
And it probably roughly, you know, with commercial breaks and all, it probably works out to about a good, tight 90-minute film.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's just, you know, maybe could have done with a little bit more, but a lot more and it would start to drag. Like, this was actually, it really worked.
Yeah, if you want to do any more, it would be maybe give B'Elanna another scene.
Yeah.
Or who else didn't get... Kim didn't get a ton, other than their trivia scene.
Yeah.
He didn't survive the episode.
Right?
Which is pretty surprising.
Good for him.
Yeah, he survived. He seemed to be, you know, more or less intact. There were no scenes of him being majorly injured.
Yeah, I mean, we were told that he was injured and had to spend some time
Oh.
on his feet, but we didn't see it.
Yeah, he like, breathed a bit too much nebula
Oh,
that
that's
time.
right, when he and Janeway were using their little respirators.
Yeah.
And she asks him, how long can you hold your breath? And then the doctor tells us afterwards, and this is great, I told you 8 minutes, no more, no less. Certainly not 12 minutes, which means Janeway can hold her breath for 4 minutes. Damn.
She was
Well,
probably-
Kim can't.
Either that or, like, the respirators last 10 minutes, so the doctor told them 8 minutes,
Which,
knowing
yeah.
that they would take 2 extra minutes, but then they took 4 extra minutes instead.
It's like actor time, you know, just like tell them 30 minutes early, maybe they'll be on time.
Also, the point is they weren't able to hold their breaths that long because their lungs were burned by nebula gas.
A little.
So they can hold so Janeway can hold her breath for 3 minutes.
Almost enough time not to breathe in nebula.
I'm willing to bet Janeway was on the Academy swim team. I don't know why I'd say that, but it just seems logical. Tell me she's on the swim team, yeah, that makes a weird kind of sense. Harry was, of course, in chess club.
Playing clarinet.
Yep, the whole time. He controlled the pieces with the clarinet. Like, he made little hover skirts on them that he could control different notes. It's kind of like a... I don't know, I was about to try to make a holophoner joke from Futurama, but that's a whole different thing.
You're a madman, Chris.
A little bit. Oh, man, really great moment. It felt like there was no way for it to work, but another would have been a good place to end an episode moment was Janeway sitting alone in her chair on the bridge when she just, like, sat down and crossed her leg like, my ship. It's like, God, you feel like the credits are going to pop up there, but they can't because there's only like 15 minutes of episode left, so you know there's not a third part.
Yeah.
But that was a great shot in general.
Yeah, and she's burnt to pieces.
Yeah.
And the bridge is under
Much
construction.
rubble. I wonder what point they just gave up, like, trying to clean up after it. Like, if you got the
Leave into space.
in the first couple battles, they were like, all right, get this tight. And after some point, they're like, it's whatever. Just get it off your chair.
I think that's all I've got.
Yeah, it was a very successful episode.
I'll have to watch it sometime.
You know, I guess for any individual viewer, your mileage may vary depending on how you feel about the hard reset.
Yeah, I ended up not minding the hard reset.
Yeah,
and I think
no,
it's because
that's
of the way like Kurtwood Smith is shown at the end, and that just kind of works.
Yeah, I can think of other times, other shows, I think even this one, have done hard resets where you're more like, really? Man, fuck that. But this one, I'm like, no, this one's fine. You know what else has been reset?
What?
Fuck, I got nothing.
All right.
I cannot segue.
Good. Well, here's the segue. The segue is we're finally finishing off our discussion on different Starfleet ships. Last week we talked Kelvinverse and Discovery. This year we're finishing it off with Picard through the rest of it. Let's start off with Picard and take a look at La Sirena, which is a Kaplan F-17 speed freighter. Right off the bat, it's very different because it's not really like a starship, it's a freighter. So it's got a whole different shape, but it's the hero ship of Picard, so we're going to look at it. And it looks kind of like a cricket.
Oh my gosh, it does.
It's got little wingies on the side. It's got a little compact face.
I like it. You know, I like the color. I like the paint job.
I do love the paint job.
I suppose you can say there's maybe vague hints of like the runabout in her cockpit design a little bit. So it's, you know, if not Starfleet, at least still Federation-y.
It's got little streamlined double tails in the back.
Yeah, like you feel like some of her design is purely aesthetic, which for a civilian ship, sure, why not? Yeah, I like her.
What do you guys think?
It's alright.
It's pretty. I like her color.
Yeah, I don't have real strong feelings about this ship.
Is it because it's in Picard and you hate Picard?
No, I just don't.
Is this Rio's ship?
Yeah.
Yep.
It looks nothing like a mermaid.
No.
But his badge is the mermaid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not, doesn't really excite me all that much. It's also not, it exists, and I have no strong feelings one way or the other.
Yeah, and it feels like a Star Trek vessel. You know, again, not a Starfleet ship.
It's got sort of nacelles, so it still kind of feels right.
Yeah, like it feels like it belongs in that universe. It doesn't feel like it dropped in from a different franchise, JJ.
Yeah. Although, having said that, I could see this ship in Star Wars.
It feels like a pod racer or something.
Paint job.
You'd maybe have to lop off the nacelles first.
I don't know. I think I could easily see those as like some accent thing on a Star Wars ship.
I feel like on a Star Wars ship they'd be bigger though.
I feel like in a Star Wars
on a Star Wars ship they'd go. Woo, 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 woo.
Star Wars, everything is so big in Star Wars that there's no sense of scale in Star Wars. Like, everything's just fucking enormous and also minuscule.
Everything is an actual mile long.
What the fuck is this?
Alright, so the next ship
it's a Wallenberg class.
It's the Wallenberg class ship. We see these briefly, but I think they're kind of cute, so I included it.
I think it's cute.
It's very cute. These are the little tug ships that they use to help migrate or help immigrate or help emigrate.
Evacuate?
Evacuate's a better word. Evacuate the Romulans from their
or rather
their
evacuate Romulus.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right. I don't remember these at all, but they are. They're cute.
If they were evacuating the Romulans, then it was a dirty, nasty situation. Evacuating people means to
poop.
Evacuating.
No, more like people evacuating.
Jesus Christ.
I like the orange and gray. That's not as clear than it is in the screenshot, but you can kind of see it. But yeah,
it's definitely there. And combine that with the turquoise nacelle light.
Yeah, very, Starfleet style round bridge thing.
It's got kind of a little dust buster snout.
Yeah, it does. I imagine the deflector's probably in there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the idea here that you like hook this up to, it's a tug, so you must just like...
It must be tractor beams.
Yeah.
Like, the ship is probably like they've modified them for evacuation, but I bet normally, like, it's just got the world's biggest tractor beam power generator.
You can see in that screenshot down below, it looks like one of them is attached to some kind of larger...
Oh shit, you're right.
Maybe it's like a thing where you could either hook up cargo pods or transport, like troop transports or something.
Yeah.
This one over here looks like it's dragging something from that.
Yeah,
from the
you're
end of
right.
it.
Yeah, so it's maybe just you can attach a bunch of cargo things you've converted into,
There's a ship... There's a ship kind of like that in Enterprise too, right? Like
yes, yeah, we do see like a cargo ship,
cargo freighter that has that kind of configuration.
From what is it? I can't tell if it's behind or the front. Just like a little grumpy guy in the upper right hand corner.
This
there.
is the front and this is the back.
It's like an angry bird.
Oh no, actually, it is the back because those are
it is the
the
back.
impulse.
Oh, I
engines.
see. That's strange that they did it on top.
Yeah, this is a grumpy boy. It's like meh.
Yeah.
All
Like
right,
an
so
angry baby burb.
Inquiry class is the ship that we see roughly 1 million of
Mm.
in the finale of Picard. Riker flies in saying, "These are the baddest boys in the fleet." Rah, 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 rah,
We
rah.
built 1,000 of them
They're
for some
all-
reason.
They are all. There is a slight variance among them. There's
I
3
have
different,
heard that,
very
yeah.
slightly designs of them, but they're all this basic shape. It looks kind of like like an oyster shell with nacelles on the back.
Yeah, it's interesting in that it serves a purpose in that because the impression you get around the start of Picard is that because of that whole thing on Mars, the Federation has maybe been focusing for the past decade or two on just kind of being a little insular. They're probably not exploring as much. They're mostly just kind of keeping themselves intact and being a bit more insular. So the fact that the ships would get sort of samey and small and a bit dull.
Well, I'm also imagining that the Federation has been pretty fucked, raked over the coals.
True.
Between the Borg and the Dominion.
Yeah.
That the fleet's probably running a little thin.
So they were just let's make something we can churn out a fuck ton of.
Let's just make instead of having 40 different ship classes, this is the Excelsior class of the late
I accept that
24th
headcanon.
century.
Oh, they made the mistake they did with the early versions of the Enterprise E, though.
The wings move. The wings swing forward,
And it looks like a turkey. Oh.
Yeah, it's not that great.
Yeah, I've never liked this ship. It's a little dull. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, it looks like one of those, remember those metal things you'd measure your foot size in
Yes.
the shoe store?
Mm.
That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah. I mean, again, it makes sense in world, but it is a dreary little thing.
No, is this one that you think was made canon from Star Trek Online?
No, I think this one they came up with for the show.
Okay.
It's ones we see in season 2. A lot of those were
Okay.
Star Trek Online ships that became canon. I think these are original. Ugh.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. It's also I'm not interested in it, but
Yeah,
it just looks like
deeply forgettable.
yeah. I would agree with that. Okay, a new ship that we see in season 2. It's called Sagan class. It's the new Stargazer. And I'm going to assume it's a refit of the old Stargazer? Unclear.
So many nacelles.
But the Stargazer was not Sagan class.
Yeah, no, she
that's
was
true. Constellation class.
Constellation class. So
Yeah, no, I think it's a whole new.
it's a new ship.
It's kind of
Okay.
what if we made a Constellation class, but
because
with
she's got a
the
new number, too.
Yeah.
with the sovereign aesthetic in mind.
But also make sure it has 4 nacelles now.
Still, yeah.
Yeah, also, the Stargazer would be 40 years old. I don't think they'd bother refitting it.
They still got the double thinguses there that Jake noted on the original.
Yeah.
This one is not a kit bash, but is designed to kind of look like one.
Yeah, it's designed to look like the Stargazer, which I'm a little you really need to do the 4 nacelles. We could have just had a 2 nacelle ship and called it the Stargazer.
Or call it something else.
I mean, I get that the Stargazer was significant because it's Picard's old ship.
Well, but in theory, there's more than just the Sagan NX whatever also has 4 nacelles. They just want to try 4 nacelles again.
I guess so.
It doesn't look great from the front, but aside from that,
from the front it looks like a Space Invader from the video.
oh my
game.
god, it does.
It does.
Now I love it. Yeah, no, I mean, I think I prefer the Constellation class Stargazer to this one, but I still like this one. It's fun.
Yeah, I
Still
got
think
nothing
it's a
against it.
goofy ship.
That's
Goofy
fair.
ship. Slower decks.
Okay, moving on to the lower decks ships. So these are all from the animated show, the California class, which includes the hero ship, the Cerritos. Firstly, it's really big. I never realized how big it was until I saw a size comparison. It's just a little smaller than Galaxy class.
That's surprising.
Or it's in that general realm. So it is huge.
So what I've often said that I love about this design...
Whoa, it looks like a paraglider.
True. What I love about this design is that, you know, if the whole idea is that, like, they're sort of second wave, like, you know, after the heroes make first contact, you go in and deal with the aftermath. And it feels like it would have been one of those background kit bash ships in TNG. And with that as the premise, at least that's how I understand the premise, if I'm wrong, correct me, this ship makes perfect sense. And I actually even kind of like the design. I think the nacelle pylons are a tiny bit too long. But aside from that, I actually quite like it. I even like that the friggin' Bussard collectors are ridiculous and kind of look like they maybe just took and colored a marker or something, because the What's-It class that the USS Chekhov was a part of, they literally took some old highlighters, painted them gray, and stuck them onto a model.
Yeah, I think this is okay. I think it is. I mean, it kind of suffers from the same issue that the Oberth class does, in that how the hell do you get to the engineering hull from the saucer?
I'm not even sure that's an engineering
I think that's
hull.
just deflector control, probably.
So where's the warp core?
Oh, it's somewhere in the saucer, I'd imagine.
Oh, okay.
I thought. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I assume so too.
I've seen like 3 episodes of the show, so...
Yeah. See, I assumed that it was like it could do a saucer separation.
It could.
And that, like...
Just that. Or maybe just that part comes out and fuck off.
Yeah.
Saucers do. Like, good luck, assholes. Apparently, also, I have read that you see color-coded ones. Like, some have a red stripe instead of a blue stripe, whereas the Cerritos has yellow.
Oh yeah, because I think we saw some of the other chairs have just a different color pattern on them. I'm kind of meh on California class. It might be because it's so big. It seems unnecessarily big for what its role is.
Yeah.
But it's and like Caitlin says, it looks like you want to like stand on this little the back section.
Yeah.
And use it like a Segway.
It sure looks zippy. I'll give her that. Ah, the Titan.
Let's take a look at the Titan. We finally get to see the Titan, Riker's ship. It comes to the rescue at some point. It's decent looking.
So what's interesting...
Think he's compensating for something? I'm just kidding.
What's interesting is, and I know I mentioned this before, but I don't remember if it was on the air. I apologize if this is redundant. But they had actually had a version of the Titan for the Titan novels. But this version tweaked some aspects of it. And because this was actually on television, it's considered the proper version. And I think before they went bust, Eagle Moss actually put out a different version of the Titan based on, or they were going to put out maybe, a version of the Titan based on Lower Decks, which was different from the model they put out previously based on the
So 2 different
book
Titans.
drawings. Yep. It's weird. It's kind of like from the top, she almost looks like they took the Voyager and just moved her nacelles around, but then from other angles, it's clearly more complex than that.
To me, it's like like the Voyager and the Reliant had a baby.
Yeah, because it's got the little decky on top.
And like the underhung nacelles.
Yeah, like she has an engineering section, but feels almost like a ship that doesn't from certain views. It's like a weird midpoint. I like her.
Yeah, not bad.
All right, we're going to take a look at the USS Vancouver.
Oh, I haven't really seen this one.
I believe there's 2 other ones. So there's the Vancouver and another one. The Vancouver is one we see because I think Mariner used to serve on it. Question marks.
I like it.
Yeah, I like this one too. It's Parliament class. It's like a big saucer.
That's a big saucer. Look at those windows.
It does remind me of Froggy. Of a Froggy.
Yeah,
with
frog.
some nicely sized nacelles.
It's kind of like they took the Blastel, what's it called?
Miranda class.
No, the Nova class, and made it less chunky.
Nova class is tiny.
What am I thinking of?
I have no idea what you're thinking
What's
of.
the Galaxy class one?
The Nebula class.
Yes, Nebula class. It's like a trimmed down
and
Nebula.
without the table on top.
Yes, without the table. It's really nice. I quite like it actually.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say on it. We see it very briefly, but I included it because people like Lower Decks, so whatever.
It's a good ship.
All right, the last
What the
one
hell?
is Obana class, which is basically a Excelsior class.
Yeah, it's an Excelsior class with Sovereign class
And
nacelles.
spoiler alert, captain of the ship, none other than your friend and mine, Sonia Gomez.
Oh, I heard she showed up.
Yeah, I do kind of hate her.
Okay, so it's... so actually, it's Excelsior, but it's specifically the Enterprise B type Excelsior with the stupid flare, which I hate.
Yeah, it's a smaller flare.
True, but it's still ugly. And, yeah, Sovereign class nacelles, and maybe some extra... some extra impulse engines, maybe.
I mean,
I don't like it.
It's clearly just
Nope.
a refit of the Excelsior class.
Yeah, no, again, like with the Enterprise B, you took a really good class and found little tweaks to make it ugly. Bastards. Whoa, oh, that was it.
Yeah, that's it for lower decks of the Starfleet ships we see. We do have a brand new hero ship in Prodigy, the Protostar, which I love. I think it kind of looks like a spade from a deck of cards with nacelles.
Sure.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of Voyager-y.
It's kind of Voyager-y, but it looks like it's been polished.
Yeah.
Like you took like a whetstone and just polished the fuck out of it until it was super, super smooth.
I think the only Starfleet ship we've seen with just flat Bussard collectors like that.
Yeah.
Like normally they're either curved or pointed or round. Instead, these are just discs. Yep.
Yeah.
Neat.
Yep. A deflector strip instead of a dish or other roundel kind of thing, which I guess would make it more like the Defiant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That had a strip.
Mouth.
That picture, it looks really like it's smiling and happy.
It should be. It's a great ship.
Yeah, it's a cute little ship. I like it. You get the sense that it is quite small, because it is. Yeah, no, it's a good ship.
Yeah, I like it an awful lot.
Tough little
When is that motherfucking show gonna be back?
I don't know.
Soon.
I just saw YouTube just started playing ads for it for me, so
No shit.
hopefully that means soon.
Cool.
I miss it. I really liked it.
Captain Chakotay.
And of course, it can transform. Has its little, when it goes into what's it mode.
I don't remember.
Yeah, they've realized it has that secondary.
Super warp.
Yeah, it's like a test bed for a new type of warp. That's why it has the Protostar engine.
Oh, okay.
And it goes through a whole elaborate transformation sequence. They're like, all right, how can we one up Voyager's flappy nacelles? It's like, well, what if the whole ass just opens up and a rocket is there? Which, that's cool.
Alright, so we just finished season 1 of Strange New Worlds, and they've shown us a couple of new ships, mostly barely any glimpses of them.
Yeah.
So we see a really quick glimpse of a ship called the Archer in the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
This is the ship that Una was flying around in.
Yep.
And it's like they tried to get Freedom Class right, because it's a big saucer.
They tried to do Freedom Class right.
One nacelle connected with very precarious looking strips.
Yeah. It's like they took the Kelvin and took off its overslung engineering section.
Oh, that's also true. But also, I think the bottom nacelle is further away.
Yeah.
Because those attachment beams look flimsy
So
as
weak.
fuck.
Although, it looks like they maybe are wider in the other direction
that
than they
could be.
normally are. So they've got two thick boys instead of...
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
They tried to do the Freedom Class right and did it wrong.
There's no way
It's
to do the
still
Freedom
better.
Class right.
Not better. It's the same.
Mm-mm. The original Freedom Class is
It's worse
hot trash.
because it's got the wrong color Bussard collector.
There we go. Freedom, 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 oi! Freedom, 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 oi! From Futurama.
Yes.
I'm just gonna keep going.
All right, and finally, I believe this is the last one in our journey today. We finally get to see Captain Jim Kirk's first ship, the Farragut.
So, unless they say otherwise, because they just say it's the Farragut, I'm assuming this is a pre-movie era, pre-refit Miranda class.
I am not seeing
The
it.
nacelles are too close together.
You're right.
Plus, the pylons, or whatever the connecting pieces are actually called, and I don't feel like looking it up.
That's fair.
They're like rounded,
Yeah,
like
you're
the
right.
Kelvin movies do.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's not. But it is nice to
You
finally
can see the roundiness of them.
to see a
Yeah.
TOS
It also
style.
looks like the edges of the saucer are almost a little bit tipped up, or is it just on that side? Like rounded upward? Maybe it's just a trick of how the picture looks. I could
Although
be
that
wrong.
would be a cool thing that maybe one of the ways that Kirk knew the weaknesses of the Reliant was because he used to captain a Miranda.
Yeah, or at least was on a similar type of vessel, certainly.
Yeah.
It's like, all these two nacelles under a saucer ships have the same clunkiness.
It does look quite clunky.
I do like the way they've just kind of jammed the deflector into the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's a funny looking little thing, but she's kind of cute. She's silly. I like her.
Yeah, we only see, like, it zoom around a couple times. Like, I don't know how I found these screen grabs, because they're really tough to actually, like, freeze it at the right time. And all
Yeah,
this
no,
stuff.
new Trek is still bad at ship porn. Makes me sad.
Yeah. Okay, and that's it for our ship discussion. So those are all our Starfleet ships. It's been a journey, guys. We took so many rides on so many ships, and now we're home.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for putting it all together, Ames.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and as I said, you can find all these pictures up on our Tumblr. You can tell us which one's your favorite. I'm going to call it right now, Protostar. Easy answer for me.
Pike's Enterprise.
Good, also a good answer.
Oh, yeah. Pike's Enterprise is very good. I don't know. I can't pick a favorite. There's like 6,000 of them.
There's so many of them. And these are only the ones that were, like, very visibly seen on screen. So not like the ones that they designed to be, like, in the background, in lots of group shots, wreckage all around Wolf 359. You can find those up online somewhere. They're really fucking weird. But I didn't do them. So maybe one day in the future if I ever get really bored.
If you look into it, like I said last week, like a lot of the stuff that's in the Armada in the second season of Picard, like rather than design new stuff, a lot of them are just straight out of Star Trek Online, except of course the Excelsior 2 or whatever they called it. But yeah, there's so many out there. There's the ships from First Contact. Yep. The the Akira class is a personal favorite.
Really, I think it looks terrible.
Oh, see, I love that ship. But again, I'm a sucker for anything without an engineering hull. Well, I say that, but I'm not too keen on the Streamrunner. I always forget which it is. Anyway, yeah, so check out that on our Tumblr. Follow along there. We're going to be moving over onto other ships next week, starting with alien ships. We'll see how in-depth I go there. I'll probably be skipping a ton of ships because there's so many. So really only, like, the big guns from our alien friends and our alien enemies, because why not? We mostly see our alien enemies' ships, to be honest. Because most of our alien friends just get sucked into the maw of the Federation. Join us and have saucers. Sauce. Also, next week we're going to be covering more Voyager. Ooh. Next week's episodes are going to be Random Thoughts and Concerning Flight. So... What a bonkers title! We'll see. I have no idea. I don't remember these ones. We'll see them next week. Nice. In the meantime, catch up on any of our other episodes. They're up on any podcast location that you can think of, and possibly others you can't think of. You can also hail us on the Facebook and the Twitter. We'll say beep boop. And until next week, this has been Ames. This has been Caitlin.
This has been Jake.
Not sure what's going on, but this is always Chris.
I, for some reason, expected it to go the other way.
No.
No,
wow.
it never goes the other way.
No.
Time's up.
Hi.
Janeway'd. Theme song go here now. Jesus Christ.
No, not that one. Ours.
I like how you're just giving yourself notes for when you do the edit. Cut all the things Jake says.